He never became rich overnight. He never picked the perfect stock. He never built a billion-dollar company. He never won the lottery. Yet one ordinary morning, at 65 years old, he opened his investment account, looked at one number, and quietly smiled. His portfolio had crossed $1 million. Not because he was lucky, not because he was a financial genius, but because 40 years earlier, he made one simple decision that almost everyone around him ignored. This is the story of Michael, an ordinary man with an ordinary job. At 25, Michael had just started working. His salary was average. After paying rent, groceries, gas, insurance, and a few bills, there wasn't much money left. Every month felt the same. His paycheck arrived. And before he knew it, it was gone. His coworkers weren't much different. Every Friday, they spent money on restaurants, new clothes, expensive gadgets, and weekend trips. Every Monday, they complained. "My credit card bill is killing me. I'll start saving next month. I just need a higher salary." Michael noticed something strange. Most of them earned more money than he did, but somehow, they were always broke. That's when he realized an important truth. Making more money doesn't automatically make you wealthy. Your habits do. One evening, while driving home from work, Michael heard an interview with an experienced investor on the radio. The host asked, if someone only has $100 a month to invest, can it really make a difference? The investor smiled and replied, "It's not the amount that changes your future. It's the consistency." That sentence stayed in Michael's mind all night. When he got home, instead of watching TV, he opened his banking app and looked at last month's expenses: coffee, fast food, online shopping, streaming subscriptions, random convenience store purchases, individually. They didn't look expensive, but together, they added up to well over $100 every month. Michael realized he wasn't losing money because he earned too little. He was losing it through small habits he barely noticed. The very next day, he made a promise to himself. "I will invest $100 every month, no matter what." He opened a simple investment account. Instead of chasing hot stocks or trying to predict the market, he invested in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. Then he automated it. Every month, $100 would be invested automatically. No excuses, no emotions, just consistency. At first, nothing exciting happened. After several months, his account had grown only a little. Then suddenly, the stock market crashed. Everywhere he looked, people were panicking. News channels predicted disaster. Experts warned investors to sell. Even his coworkers laughed. "I told you investing is gambling. You should take your money out before you lose everything." Michael opened his investment account. The numbers were red. His balance had dropped. For the first time, he questioned his decision. Maybe everyone else was right. Maybe investing wasn't for ordinary people. His finger hovered over the sell button. One click, and the fear would disappear. But then he remembered the investor's words. "It's not the amount that changes your future. It's the consistency." He closed the app and did something almost nobody else was doing. He invested another $100. The next month, he invested again, and the month after that, again. He didn't realize it then. But during a market crash, his $100 was buying more shares than ever before, while others saw falling prices as a reason to quit. Michael quietly saw them as an opportunity. He stopped worrying about what the market would do next week. Instead, he focused on something he could actually control: his habit. Every payday, the investment happened automatically, whether the market was up or down, whether the news was optimistic or terrifying. Michael kept buying. He had no idea that this simple habit was slowly building something far more valuable than money. It was building patience, discipline, and a future that most people would never experience. Years passed. Michael got married. He bought a house. He became a father. Life became more expensive than ever. There were months when the car broke down, months when medical bills appeared without warning, months when every dollar seemed to have a purpose. More than once, Michael thought about stopping his investments. After all, what difference could $100 really make? But every time that thought crossed his mind, He reminded himself of the promise he had made years earlier: never stop investing, even if the amount stayed the same, even if progress felt slow. He kept going. Meanwhile, many of his co-workers received promotions and bigger salaries. They upgraded to luxury cars, bought larger homes, took expensive vacations. From the outside, they looked successful, but behind the scenes, many of them were drowning in debt. Higher income had simply created higher expenses. Michael chose a different path. Whenever he received a raise, he didn't rush to upgrade his lifestyle. He upgraded his future instead. Sometimes he increased his investment. Other times he simply stayed consistent, because he had learned a lesson that changed everything. Wealth isn't built by how much you earn. It's built by how much you keep investing. 10 years became 20. 20 became 30. And something incredible began to happen. At first, Michael's own monthly contributions had built most of his portfolio. Now, his investments were growing faster than the money he was adding. This is the real power of compound interest. In the beginning, you work for your money. Later, your money starts working for you. And eventually, your money begins earning money on its own. That's the stage most people never reach. Not because it's impossible, but because they quit too early. Every market crash frightened them. Every bad headline convinced them to stop. Every short-term loss made them forget their long-term goal. Michael wasn't smarter than everyone else. He simply stayed in the game. While others tried to time the market, he trusted time in the market. Then, 40 years after making his very first investment, Michael sat at his kitchen table with a cup of coffee. He opened his investment account like he had done hundreds of times before. But this time, something was different. His portfolio had officially crossed $1 million. He didn't celebrate with a luxury vacation. He didn't buy a sports car. He simply smiled, because he remembered the 25-year-old version of himself, the young man who almost gave up during his first market crash, the young man who wondered if $100 a month could ever matter. Now he had the answer. It wasn't the $100 that made him a millionaire. It was 40 years of consistency. Later that week, his grandson asked him, "Grandpa, what's the secret to becoming rich?" Michael smiled and replied, "People think becoming wealthy requires one big decision. It doesn't. It requires hundreds of small decisions, made over a very long time." He continued, "Most people spend money to impress strangers. I invested money to protect my future. That's the only difference." Before leaving, he gave his grandson one final piece of advice. If you ever have to choose between looking rich or becoming rich, choose becoming rich, because looking rich lasts for a moment. Becoming rich can change generations. And that's the lesson behind this story. The stock market isn't magic. It doesn't guarantee success. There will always be crashes, bad years, fear, and uncertainty. But history has shown that patient, long-term investors who stay disciplined have often been rewarded over time. You don't need a perfect salary. You don't need to predict the next winning stock. And you don't need to become rich overnight. Sometimes, the most ordinary habit creates the most extraordinary future. So ask yourself one question. What if your future millionaire self is waiting for one simple decision that you keep postponing today? Because the best time to start investing was years ago. The second best time is today. Remember, you don't become wealthy because of one lucky investment. You become wealthy because you refuse to quit. $100 every month, year after year, until one ordinary morning, you look at your investment account, smile quietly, and realize that the small habit everyone ignored changed your entire life.